Here it is. Scotty J. Y'all ready? Because there's no going back. You have a firm and feel all alone. Another tax season down, you still haven't grown. It's a struggle, but wait, you're not alone. Berkey built a platform that'll help you transform. There's a better way to CPA, new technology and processes, manage teams and price profitably, deliver high quality, scale your firm, building with limited time and money, keep up with a consistently evolving industry. That's funny. Building and branding can be backbreaking, growing from scratch to sale. Don't sell your soul for traditional, come join a platform that's built to scale. Share strategies on a complex sitch to tax, tips and tricks. Dark horse so dope, there's not a problem that they can't fix.
You wanna collaborate. You want both autonomy and support. If you want community, then become a principal advisor. So if you're ready, say a better way. A better way, not CPA.
There's no going back.
Chadwick Davis.
Nope, that's not.
Hello and welcome. We are all the sons of CPAs. Join us as we question the current state of the accounting and tax industry with the next generation of professionals leading this space. We are all the change agents in an industry fraught with money and inertia. Let's begin the Sons of CPAs with your hosts today, Zachary Call and Scott Scarano.
Today we have Chad Davis, who's co-founder and partner at LiveCA LLP, a Canadian accounting firm. That he's
Is it LiveCA and CPA? Have you changed the name?
No, keep
LiveCA
going. This is good. Yeah. Yeah, live.
I like it. No, I
LiveCA.
like where you're going with it. Yeah.
It should be LiveCA, but they kind of changed the rules.
LiveCA. Wow, I was way off. You founded LiveCA, right?
Co-founded with Josh Zweig.
Built it over the years. Started in what year?
2013, right at the beginning. So Josh had his own company in 2012. I had my own company in 2012, and we found each other. Xero Advisor Directory. I actually think it might have been an intro from Will. If Will remembers that.
Will
Really?
Yeah, Will Lopez. Yeah, we're early days. We were on like some FreshBooks was doing like a pro advisory thing back early in the day, and just kind of all met.
I met Zach with Will.
Will's a connector.
You guys are so chill.
It's been
You get a gold star for that. But let's talk about how you built this. I want to hear. Go back to like, when did you start your own practice before you merged with Josh?
Oh, it was April 2012. I had left the Cayman Islands in a family office setting, came back to snowy Canada, and tried to convince a whole bunch of people that didn't want to be convinced that Xero was a thing and that getting off of QuickBooks Desktop was a good idea. And you think dating's hard. Like, that's a lot of rejection in 1 year.
Oh, I've been through that too, so I know what that's like. So you kind of were struggling in getting to that movement happening in your own firm, and then you met your current partner at LiveCA.
Yeah, it's like going back in time. Like, this is all very widely known for anybody starting up now, but if you can put tech and tax together, you've got a pretty appealing service offering to some people. And that was, not so much the case back then. There were a few people doing it, but not too many. That attraction of tech and tax is what got us a whole bunch of customers, and that funded the growth for the whole thing.
Oh, tech and tax. Those are the titular title tidbits. People love that. Whenever I put that in the title, it gets a lot of listens, a lot of grabs. Tech tax. That's it, and it sounds like that's the impetus, at least for you. But was it the tech that you're more passionate about, or the tax?
Definitely the tech. Yeah, Josh is all Josh did the tax. Can I just call out your bookshelf? There's some color coordinated stuff going on back there.
You like that?
That's nice.
I have an affinity for colors, numbers, shapes, and letters. We just got a game called Quirkle at this house, and oh man, I am in love with this game. Have you heard of it?
No, but it sounds good.
Shapes and colors, so it's the game for the whole family.
Gotcha. And was this one of the stages where you had to go rearrange your whole bookshelf?
I don't know if that's the OCD or if that's just like, it's I mean, this is definitely still a work in progress.
It looks good.
But,
I like the Xero logo. Is that custom? Like, what is that?
It is. Yeah. So this was, how Xero does the co-branding, co-marketing.
Oh yeah.
So we use some of our funds and I have one, we do the pageant one and we created a Xero one. So they funded both, right?
That's nice.
It's,
we ended up getting, after years of hounding from our friend and original account manager, well, Johnny McAvoy was our original account manager back from New Zealand. Then he went to Rest of World. And then when he went to Rest of World, we got Bill Kimball. And Bill Kimball was our rep for the longest time. Then he got promoted a few times. And he would always remind us to spend our marketing dollars. And after maybe 6 or 7 years of those reminders and a whole bunch of money banked up, we ended up getting Herschel backpacks for the team with the Xero LiveCA logos. Yeah.
Zachary made some belts for everybody, for clients, for friends. He brought them
all sorts of people.
There needs to be some sort of showcase that Xero puts together.
They should.
Yeah.
There'd be some cool stuff that people have done over the years.
Yeah.
Scott and I were sharing a mill, Vietnamese mill in Denver last week, and talking about his OCD and his bookcases and the many different things. And I think we made some real breakthroughs. So hopefully those start.
Care to share those with me? I forgot already. I've got attention deficit disorder. So when we say like, you say LiveCA or LiveCPA, and I know that's a thing, in Canada. We've talked about that in our Canada episodes. I don't think this is a Canada episode because you're not even in Canada.
I am not. I'm in
I said that's a great place to be. Our previous guest was just in Venice Beach. So this is so. I say that everybody had to work really hard for their titles, and I was born with mine.
Well, I got to ask you a question. For those of you that may not know your and Zach's relationship, how would you categorize that?
We're pals. So we actually met each other through Xero. So Xero is the connector. Xero is the at ground zero is where it all started, and I think we can trace it all back to Peter Wen, whose idea it was to have the X-Pack. Now, tell us your relationship with Peter Wen.
Everybody,
sure you know him, right?
Everybody has a relationship with Peter. Maybe it might relate back to either like silent discos on the top floor of a XeroCon somewhere, or just like sitting in puffy chairs chatting. But yeah, Peter's great. I wish him nothing but the best for Tally 4.
Yeah. So speaking of coding, you just got a shout out recently from Ryan Lazanis. He posted something about the highest margin work an accounting firm can provide for their clients is no code work. And he gave you a special shout out on there. So I would love to go deep into that. I mean, we could talk about your run up and everything that led to where you're at.
Boring.
You're passionate about. What you're passionate about. And this can be the no code episode because I haven't really had anyone share some revolutionary things that you were sharing with me just on our brief conversation a few weeks ago.
Well, there's always people before you and there's people after you, right? There's some pretty smart people in our industry doing automation work. And do you have any favorites?
Well, the first one that always comes up is Stats. Jason Stats has
Mr. Jason
done a lot of help informing
Isn't he handsome? What a handsome man.
He's a champion. He's a champion. We all say Xero champions. He's just the champion of he's
of
the
life.
Twitter king.
Yeah,
right?
he's the champion of life. That's right.
Yeah, we went deep the other night. We were talking life, and him in his garage, and now he's sharing it with the world, right?
Well said. Well said.
Everybody's doing things their own way. You wanted me to bring up somebody, and obviously that's who comes top of mind. There's a lot out there, but I also think of you now. When I think no code now, I think of what you guys are doing, and that's, well, I don't want to breeze over your and Josh's relationship, right? We're talking about relationships. This is the relationship episode. Was he from Argentina, or was he in Argentina? Okay.
He likes to go to the Andes.
You came
and
up in the last
Patagonia.
episode, Marie
Yeah.
Phillips.
Marie
Phillips
she's great.
brought you up just in the last episode. That was like the only shout out she gave was you. So
It's because at each XeroCon that we went
she
to,
mentioned Argentina.
Yeah, that's right. I was gonna say, for every XeroCon that I saw Maria, I was always asking her when she would start her own firm, because everything that she talked about, all the signs pointed to building something on her own and doing exactly what she wanted. So it's really cool to see her flourish with her team and see how that's grown over the last few years.
Oh yeah. Just that story. She's tenacious. She's got $1 million firm, soon to be multi-million-dollar firm.
Good for her.
In just 3 years. It's crazy.
Crazy.
So great run up. She mentioned donuts and tacos.
That's right.
Do you have anything?
I think a lot of people know about donuts and tacos, but I forget what year it was. We've been using Slack for a long time, like early. We had HipChat before then, FlowDoc before that for internal stuff. I forget who on our team did it. Might have been Dave McPherson, might have been somebody else, but they found this this donut app add-on, and essentially there are a dime a dozen these days, but yeah, it matches people up randomly.
Donuts are a dime a dozen, aren't they?
Oh, horrible fun. But yeah, we just use those now to get the team together in a more informal setting. So this month we crossed the 100-person mark and had our first all hands this month with 4 squares of pages, 5 by 5. It was kind of cool to see for the first time, as much as a vanity metric, but yeah, it was great. So those donuts allow us to just talk to people we haven't talked to in a while. The tacos are public appreciation. We thought when it was put in that it might not last very long, but it's kind of cool. There's a whole channel dedicated to just praise and people thanking each other for the support they're giving them. And I'd argue that that's one of the core things that happens at this company is just support and really helping each other out.
Well, yeah, it's a different. You don't see that too much when you talk about CPA firms, right? A lot of people are tunneled in, and nowadays you do hear more people trying to be more intentional with their culture. It's very decentralized too. If everybody's kind of sharing their tacos here and there, right? It's not a top-down thing.
Yeah, it feels weird even talking about it because there are so many people that have influenced and changed the direction of this firm. It's not even close to Josh and I anymore. There's senior managers and associates that have been with us for a long time and started off as bookkeepers and are now managing clients as CPAs. There's tech people that started in admin that are now trainers and onboarders, operations managers. Shout out to Balkis, who's been with us a really long time and put her whole spin on the company. It's just, yeah, I think too often the founders get to talk about the company like this, but it's really everybody else that has essentially made the company what it is.
You just look like you're having fun. Like anytime I see you talking about it and all that, it's like, it's beautiful. And I know that Xero uses that word. They've trademarked the word beautiful when it comes to technology, but maybe with an accounting firm, it's kind of like, you got to have fun and you got to be affable and you got to create a culture. And so you should be proud of that, right? Like it's 100 people. That's huge. Like, could you ever have imagined that?
No.
Is this a milestone?
Let's just leave it at that. No, it was just 2 guys that were in their basements that didn't want to work for somebody else, and we're having a harder time, but together by themselves. So putting things together and making this kind of work again. There's just too many people to list. Dave McPherson, Tyler, Balkis, all the managers. Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see what people do when they have the freedom to explore and kind of build a company based on how they like to work with each other. That's what's fun. It's a good segue into
And you're not in a
the cool stuff.
basement any longer.
No,
You're not in a basement any longer. You're in an RV.
Probably just heard that. That was a special delivery from my wife for some water. Just give me a sec.
Ooh,
Here we go. Yep, RV.
love the special deliveries. Cheers. Yeah.
Cheers.
So how you talk about the freedom of your employees to be able to build that culture? Is that just your and Josh's and your style? Is that something you've from the very get-go you wanted your team to have a big influence on what you were building? Was it driven by the demands of your clients? What drove that?
I don't know. I don't know at all. It's not meant to be scientific. All that matters is that over the years there's been people that have come and gone, and people have stayed that are, they don't know, they've either worked in an accounting firm before or wanted to work for an accounting firm to get exposure to a whole bunch of different customers. I think what's kind of stayed the same is that we have a minimum price of around $2 million in revenue to work with us, and we don't do personal work. So it's all corporate, and it's of the higher, smaller market, I guess you could say. And that exposure of complexity around everything to do with a business, it extends more than accounting. There's tech issues, there's repeatable things that you can help people with payroll and with accounts payable and treasury and foreign currency work, cross-border taxes and planning. Like, it's repeatable, but it's really interesting to change people up. So like, whether it's a trainer that gets to teach somebody how they can save some money on a ticket, or a CPA who picks a good structure for somebody, we're all in it for our different reasons. And probably not dissimilar to what brought you guys into this, is like, you're kind of gravitating towards the stuff that you like. And that's how we were able to offer up all these different positions that we had no idea we ever needed, was because it was a natural progression to either take something off of somebody's plate or to introduce something completely new that people wanted on their plate.
So I wrote down the 3 words: intentional, natural, and forced, right? And a lot of firms try to force things upon people. I mean, there's a difference between intentional and forced, but natural is something that is kind of happening. When you say by accident or you don't know, these kind of things do happen naturally, but they're a product of things. I think really good leaders sometimes don't even know how they've done it, or they couldn't put a finger on it. I'm not trying to blow smoke up there, but these are things that people need to start thinking about. Like, everybody wants to be very intentional with what they do, but sometimes it's forced and it doesn't happen naturally. So
yeah, I think that's why people that are like new to the management side of things are really enjoying it, because they did want it. And like, if you can find a company that can give that to you, that's pretty special. So yeah, it's a crazy market out there.
Was the evolution to living in the RV a natural evolution, or is
that
a good thing?
Yeah. So
yeah, was it natural or was it intentional?
No, I was so intentional.
Or was it forced?
Yeah, both. Look, we're talking to the converted here. Like, you get into a groove with a company, and you like, sometimes you lose yourself. And I don't need to make this super spiritual or anything, but I think after 5 years, you just take a good hard look at yourself, and you're like, oh, that's an extra 40 pounds. That's an extra chin. I probably shouldn't be doing this. Kids were growing up at that point. My daughter was like turning 6 or 7, and just had a new kid a couple years before that. So I have two children, boy and a girl. And I was like, what are we doing? We don't like the vacations we go on are super expensive, because you're trying to force things into 1 or 2 weeks, and you get back and you're exhausted. So we're like, what can we do that like might not be as exhausting? That was the only purpose. And later that night, I'll never forget, like, my wife saw this Go RVing commercial online, or sorry, I was on the TV actually. It was like, rent an RV, go do a trip. So we looked at each other like, all right, let's go. So we went to the dealership that weekend and bought a rig that day, and then left for what turned out to be a 6-week trip. And that 6-week trip and a new rig later turned into 4 years on the road.
Wow. Wow.
That is
That's,
awesome.
Still haven't lost the weight though.
Well, you're drinking water. That's good, right?
It's good.
You've gained a beard, I'm sure. I don't know if that happened before or after, but got a beautiful beard going there.
Yeah, it was easy to not to shave when you're traveling like that.
I watched a few of your videos on your website, and the background was all out in the mountains and in the woods and out and about different places. It was kind of fun to see that. It made me feel like if a new client were to go to your website and think about hiring you, they know they're hiring a person behind that company, and there's
a nature behind that person.
I don't know. I think
story,
there needs to be a better story told. Yeah, a lot more people should be involved in that. I think it's too centric on one or two people. It's a good reminder. Thank you, Zach. We need a new video.
So, oh man, I lost my train of thought. That's pretty cool though. So, are you running from something or towards something?
It's a good question. I can't tell you.
To travel, right?
Yeah. No, I think what happened was in the beginning, you'd try a different city every week, and then you'd have this like badge of honor of like, oh, I'm trying out all this new stuff. But like, it is exhausting doing that after a while. And then
God, tell me about it. Yeah.
And then
my badge of honor was I got a haircut in 6 different states last year.
Nice.
6 or 7.
Like finding
my
a barber
hair's so much
is
longer
hard.
now too.
I know. Like, how do you pick one?
Oh, I love it though. That's
It's
the
fun.
funnest thing. Like but
did you get one done in Nashville by any chance?
Absolutely, yes. And the place I first wanted to go to was closed.
Was it on the south side?
Haircut. It was like in the basement. It was, yeah. It was I forgot the name of it now. Scouts, I think.
Something like that. Yeah, because I was in the same boat. I'm like, Nashville's #1 barber, and I got in there and they gave you a fridge where you got to pick a free beer, and you just waited and you shit with people, and like it was legit. Like you were in some sort of like YouTube competition getting your beard done. My wife came out and she's like, "Who are you? Like that is too young looking. You are not that person."
I know, and then you never can go back. I love the variability of having different barbers and talking to different. I love to meet the locals. Whenever I travel somewhere, it's great to meet the locals and the people that walk day to day in those towns, and not just the tourist type places. I guess I don't know.
Weren't you just out with Kenji and stuff? Just somewhere in California there?
Man, we went so many different places. First we went to Beverly Hills, and then we went down to Santa Barbara, and then Kenji went to Breckenridge, and then I went home, and then we both met with Zachary. We both met Zachary in Denver.
That's awesome.
All the travel can be very exhausting, and now it's like I feel like I'm in a depression almost. Like after all of that excitement and lively, like I love to be back home. I love to be with the family, but also like I want to go back out again.
Try traveling with your toilet. It's insane. It's so good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. I only travel with my wipes. I only travel with my little pack of wet wipes. That's the only thing I can bring from home.
It's pretty epic.
I know. Well, so do you have a bidet? Like in Canada, do they have bidets in Canada?
All right, we're not going there. Like there are a lot of Canadians that are there that are accountants that will not tolerate that type of questioning.
They may not. So you said the word spiritual, right? And I know we're supposed to be talking accounting. I do want to talk about your kids having been in actual school because they're homeschooled, right?
Oh, it's so great. So great.
But you're not, this is not for a religious reason.
No, not even close. We homeschool because there's no physical school. And we don't want them to be dumb.
This is the school of hard knocks, right?
Yeah,
the school of life.
Yeah. So like it was just a circumstantial thing. We had no idea this would turn into a few years. We had no idea how they would react to it. We had no idea if we would like it or not. And the truth is, a lot of the stuff that we tried, like, we sucked at. We're horrible teachers. We might be good teachers in some areas that we think we might know about, but like math, who wants to learn math? Who wants to teach math? Like, that's tough.
Isn't
Subtraction,
that something you're born with
addition,
too?
like crazy.
You
Yeah.
just know how to do math.
That's right. So anyway, the long story short on homeschool is that it kind of mimics like what you do in life. Some people have the choice of what jobs they want to work at what company they want to work at, and you're kind of gravitated towards something that gives you an element of meaning. And for us, school is the same thing. So we tried putting them into more regular school. We tried giving them online classes that they would show up for. We tried self-study. We tried multiple tools. And what happened was some weaned off and some they got excited about. And the ones they got excited about, we leaned into a bit and then tried to find other recommendations from parents that were doing something similar that aligned with what they were really interested in. And now what's really cool is that they've been to, like, I don't know, in 4 years, easily 12 different programs. You might think that that's crazy, but to be honest, it's just weeding out the bad stuff.
Not at all.
Bad teacher, go to another course. We've been using this
You
system.
know what they say? They say start more books. So I don't mean to.
I saw that.
Like, I have a very forgetful mind. You start more books and start more things and quit more and read the good ones twice.
That's
the
right.
really good ones twice, right? And that's kind of like, doing 12 different subjects. Okay, let's lean in. I love that. Like, lean in to the
So,
ones
like,
they like.
They've tried in-person stuff before the pandemic. They've tried homeschool groups, and like, I don't know, like, I always grew up with people you just wanted to not be around in your class, but then like your friends would get the other homeroom, and then you'd just want to be in that other homeroom, and your life would be over because you weren't with them. But like, this is so different because if they meet a friend somewhere here and they hit it off, like, they'll stay in touch. Kids Messenger or Zoom calls or whatever, text messages. And then if they don't want to be around somebody, they just say no thank you and they move on. Like, what a cool life lesson to just say no thank you and move on and then walk away. And school's no different. So I was going to say, for some practicalness of this, we ended up using a lot more system or classes in a system called outschool.com because they're $8 a class, $10 a class, something like that. You can do pods. She took things like improv, acting class, Toastmasters, just all these other things that you just may not be able to get really quickly. And regardless if you're in like regular school or not, it's a really cool way to supplement kids' interests on a really quick trial basis without committing to it. Yeah.
Took guitar on there.
No way.
Yeah, my daughter's taking guitar classes on OutSchool. Yeah.
Isn't that sweet? Yeah.
Cool.
So anyway,
Yeah.
homeschool's great.
It's awesome. Like, yeah, so well, is that's supplementing the homeschool, the OutSchool, or can you get credit for classes if they were to take on OutSchool?
Look, every state and country and province has different rules for what happens. Some states are really crazy with it, and some are Texas. And they'll just let you do whatever. So yeah,
I know. So your residency though is still Canada. Is that right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Are you still?
Yeah. So
have a focal point of home that you have to report to?
That's right. There's a lot of rules. Good thing we know the tax rules on it. There's a lot of rules about staying in certain places for a certain amount of time, and then only being in the U.S. for a certain amount of time. So we're always within our 3-year rolling average numbers.
So let's steer it back to tax, right? Zach is getting anxious here. We've gone too far. We've gone off the beaten path. The nomad has taken us off the beaten path. So let's talk about your hiring process. I'm interested to hear more about that. This is something that Marie suggested I ask. So I'm following her lead here.
I think everybody has the hiring process that works for them, and there's no like one that's better or worse. All that we've found is that giving people a chance to test us out is just as important, if not more important, than us testing them out. So ever since Dave McPherson joined us, he requested a trial workday with us in July of 2013. We have done, I probably over $100,000 or well over $100,000 of trial workdays that we've paid people for, that they get to test us out for 2 days, and we get to put them through an objective testing mechanism that allows us to compare people with different skill sets on a very even plane. So we use Teachable to run the courses through. We screen people before they go to interviews using a tool called Video Ask, and then that gets thrown into Slack, and you just get to watch the videos and people emoji up or down, and then that all goes into the ATS. We're using Trackstar, which was the people that bought RecruiterBox. We've been on the same system since 2013. Never really went to the big guys and girls like Lever and Greenhouse and Gusto and all that stuff, because it just kind of worked for us over the years. It's probably been that and Xero are one of the only tech pieces, in Gmail, Google, that have been with us the entire decade.
And Gmail, I love it.
Yeah.
That's we bleed blue on this call. That's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you
Right.
have any QuickBooks clients?
I believe we are a QuickBooks Diamond or Platinum partner only because we keep the subscriptions live during a conversion.
You've always got some rolling.
Yeah, but none of them are active. Sorry, Intuit. But yeah, we're 100%
Yeah.
Xero.
You're always moving them off. You're basically
That's right.
always moving everybody off.
That's right.
And so that's kind of what we do. Like the only thing we do in QuickBooks is conversions.
That's right.
We started used to Jet Convert for that. So
Nice.
so you're this is like, it seems very natural the way that you're describing it, and it seems like, Jesus, why haven't I thought of that? Like, this is awesome. Like, that people trying you out before they buy. You know, like, you're going to commit to working for somebody. You're going to sign it. Why not try before you buy, right? Like, before, and that's you and them, but it's more for them too. Like, are they really going to want this for themselves?
Yeah, I'd argue it's actually more for them.
Yeah.
Like, why would
Yeah.
someone say yes
Yeah.
to you, really, except for some interviews with what a couple people? So anyway, we just had a lot of success with people that have either self-selected out or realized that they might need another year before they really want to make the switch so that they can finish something else up in their life. Yeah, it's really great because it's really easy to spot someone who doesn't really want to be there, and this is a great tool. So just to put this one to bed, the idea of the trial workdays is that on day one they do a bunch of stuff, and at the end of day one or the beginning of day two they get some feedback, and the feedback isn't meant to be full of criticism. It's to see how they handle feedback and being able to learn from mistakes. So then we purposefully build in things that most people get wrong on the second day so that we can see if they learn. And it's gotten way better over the years. But that's, again, it's back to the people that have worked on this for some people are here and some people aren't.
So practically speaking, so our listeners have something to go home with and maybe implement themselves. What kind of stuff do you have them do on day one?
They will
do you give
prioritize
them a demo account?
Yeah, we do. We set them up with Xero. We set them up with Teachable. We set them up with Dext or Receipt Bank, and then they're given issues. It just depends on the role too. So there's different Teachable courses for different roles. Yeah, I mean, for bookkeepers and accountants, it could be prioritize this list of things and issues. It could be write a response to. That's actually talking to Jason on Twitter about this the other day. It's like, yeah, it's nice to write about situation, but also how do they write to different people for the same situation. And we throw one in there on some of the days where they write to an owner where they took the wrong amount of money from a bank account or something, but then there's the controller and then there's the client, the actual person that you took the money out of. And like, just gives us a different vibe for their writing tone on different situations. And then we can give them the feedback on the next day. And then something similar, like, okay, do day 2 of the bookkeeping work, where now we know that you got the foreign currency wrong, or we got the statement balance wrong or something, and do it again and do it for the next month of work, and then learn from it. That's overly simplifying something that a lot of people put a lot of work into, but it's kind of what it is.
That's really impressive.
Try before you buy. This is so cool. And you've got a more closer to a 360 view of somebody, especially with the team that's going to be working with them. Again, a lot of it just kind of happens naturally. After a couple of days, I hope after a couple of days if things will work out or not. And I'm sure your retention rate shows.
Yeah. Look, that's a good segue of try before you buy into who can I even try? And we were having an issue of people not knowing that we existed and thought that they might only have like options at the big 4 or big 8 accounting firms in Canada. So we ended up building a job board for accountants where firms like yours can put themselves out there and say exactly what perks you're offering and what apps you're using and which computer brands you're using and what the salary ranges are of the jobs that you're offering, just to give something that's a little bit more than what we've been traditionally conditioned to look for in the accounting market. And my hope is that if there's a whole bunch of great firms that are putting themselves out there on this job board, it'll attract the right type of people that are looking for jobs like this. And to your point, like your firms and Kenji's firms and Marie's firms and everybody else that are kind of building some cool stuff, be nice to be able to showcase that in a semi-competitive way. And that's why we built it. It's called cloudaccountingjobs.com.
Yeah,
I probably should put the URL out there.
I know during our last call you mentioned Belay, and that's for VAs, right? Belay would be for VAs. This is for team members. This is to post, and you do this in US and Canada?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally open to any country that wants to post a job. The UK, there's one guy, Andrew, who posted from his company Illuminate over in Australia. Yeah, like it may not take off at all, but if it does, it'd be kind of a cool story to say, like, all right, a bunch of accountants got together and started posting on this job board because they wanted a place where they could showcase their firms more than their job description. Yeah, what kind of makes it cool is that you can set alerts. So if you're like working at a firm and not quite happy, just set up an alert for something that says, show me all the jobs that use Xero over 100K that are remote in the US. And then the jobs will come to you.
Oh, that's so cool.
Do you do a similar try before you buy with clients coming in? Do you test them out? Do they test you out?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of different opinions on what the right way is, and that's important, because what we do, I think we would get a lot of flack from other accountants, and it's okay. But I give away the kitchen sink. We do a lot of free consults, show people exactly what they would get if they worked with us, and that is done over a couple calls. So we're kind of building a bond that way. And with the right pre-qualifiers, you're not doing a ton of these calls, maybe 5 a week or something like that, maybe 6, maybe 7. And I like that way of sales where you can say to somebody, you know what, let's spend some time together and let's like show you exactly how to fix your problem, to show them some expertise and like earn that trust. And then once they try that out, to your point, Zach, it makes it really hard to sometimes select another accounting firm if you've put all that effort in and have shown them the light per se.
You're investing a little bit on the upfront in the relationship, so it's going to pay itself dividends later. That you're trying not to leave any stone unturned, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think that's
solve
also
the
reflective
problems.
in like pricing theory too, because I also fundamentally believe that the risk should be shared with new customers. So not forcing them into long-term contracts, getting rid of setup fees, and really working together breeds like a really healthy long-term relationship. And that's really what we're after. We're not after the quick stuff that lasts for a year or even two. It's the long stuff. So if we can do this right and we can show a little bit of love in the beginning, that's how we operate.
Well, you got to show love to get love, right? What do they say? you gotta love to be loved. We're getting really touchy feely here. So you're
We have a
talking
book.
pricey theory. Yeah. So price theory. What do you use to give proposals, or how do you deliver those?
We built our own app to do that, and it takes data from our entire sales process, creates proposals and options, and then they are allowed to accept it right within the tool. So we built that out in a tool called Bubble, and that's part of a bigger internal sort of app ecosystem that we have internally at the firm. Yeah, it manages the invoicing and the billing and carbon jobs and all that kind of fun stuff. So I've been gravitating more towards custom development work now that we've got our hands in this development stuff, and the freedom to be able to build whatever you want and whatever feature and whatever priority is pretty amazing.
I cheated. I knew the answer to that, but I really wanted to hear it. This is but this is so like so you're able to basically pull any lever that you want and that you want to set up on the front end to serve you well during the sales process. And you've got a lot of, I'm going to state the obvious again, but it's like a lot of customization in order to really drill into to having that better relationship lead to a better firm client relationship too. And the pricing just part of the process. And a lot of people bang their head against the wall for getting the right price and doing the right thing, but a lot of times they're just not asking the right questions. So do you have a sales team? How do you handle that? Yeah.
So there's a woman named Emily who's taken on a lot to kind of redefine the sales process a bit. She's doing fantastic. We've got someone starting relatively soon to also be on that team, and we've been able to move Josh out of the management of that system as well earlier. I will eventually be full-time on the dev side and not so much into sales, but for now, while we build out the team, I really enjoy it. So I'll stay on until we move that. So yeah, sometime in the next 12 months, if you're really into sales and you're Canadian, you don't want to do accounting work, but you want to talk about it a lot, there's a new role coming up.
I'm not Canadian, but I definitely have been approached already for different sales positions. I like sales actually, and I just don't like doing it at my firm anymore. I'm bored. I want to do other things.
Good. You get a Scott, and you get a Scott, and you get a Scott.
Yeah, everybody gets a little piece of me. I am the sales slut, I guess. So, like, talk a little bit more about no code, because everybody talks about no code, and this isn't something that's really foreign to a lot of us, but I don't think that I can't even put my finger exactly on what everybody's referring to, because there isn't just one tool.
No, I think the best way to approach this is to like give concrete examples. So
sure,
I just opened up our Integromat scenario system here, and just at the top of the list, I'll give you examples of things we've built over the last year, and like it'll definitely click. So Xero doesn't have a function where you can mass void hundreds or thousands of items. It's one by one, click by click. So we built a tool where it brings everything that you want into Google Sheets. And then in Google Sheets, you copy and paste down all the ones that you want to mark off as void, press a button, and then it runs through whether it's 100 or a million. And it will void everything in Xero's API that you want. And if there's a payment, it'll remove it and then void that and void the bill again. So there's just a tool that fixes a problem that we've all faced because we mass imported something and we didn't have a backup solution for it. And it fixes it. Do you want me to keep going?
That's true to Xero's open API, right? So that's like
Right.
Xero. Everybody's always said Xero's got an open API. You know, we can work well with others. Well, it's working well with you and with your firm because you developed this. Like it sounds like
Yeah.
this is
Sure. And like we turned it like in the beginning, it was a spreadsheet, and now it's part of this, again, massive internal eco app system that we're building for the firm. So turning it into an app, which makes it even easier than using spreadsheets. I'll give you a good example. Like we needed a way to get like all of our like two-factor codes into Slack. So like we use Twilio for that, and we use Integromat, and we use like, different things to get like 2FA codes so that we can share them with everybody else. Like that's using Integromat and a whole bunch of stuff in different modules to make it work. We've figured out a way to like allow the whole team to have access to a fax app without needing to do very much on that end. And like we built that out. Just going down the list, we built a bot in Slack to pull Xero invoices based on either the number of previous invoices or the amount of an invoice if we're not sure which one it is. And then it posts the URL of the invoice back into Slack along with your name. And there, it's like everybody can see it. I don't know, I'm just throwing some out here. Like Stripe exports, they don't typically include customer names. So we built a script that for certain bookkeeping clients that need to allocate Stripe revenue by name and not product, like right into the sheet. And like
I have this problem.
There you go.
I have that.
I'll show you the script. like all these things take 20 minutes to an hour to build, and then like depending on your support network around you, it could be like 2 days or 2 weeks, or it could be 2 minutes. And I think that's like what's kind of cool is like we're getting into our fourth person now on this no code development team, and people are coming to us with problems and we're making it work. I posted up on Twitter the other day that our HR team was going to need to populate a whole bunch of like work from home tax slips in Canada. They're called the T2200. Well, they had a spreadsheet. So all I did was spend 25 minutes mapping those data points to the X and Y axis points on a PDF, ran the script, and they all got their forms emailed to their personal email address, generated and saved into the right folder. It might have taken 5 minutes to run. The whole thing was done. So again, there's like 6 examples of like hundreds that we've built, but it just gives like accountants and tech heads and people that are obsessed with procedures and operations like another avenue to solve customer problems outside of tax problems and accounting.
Yeah. I've always gotten tired of people saying, well, we have to do it this way because there's no other way. There's always another way. There's always a better way. And you're creating those ways. And it's almost like you could think differently and kind of see it in your head when you hear a problem. You know, it's not just there's probably a better way, go figure it out. You're figuring it out as they're telling you the problem.
Yeah,
And
like
then,
this is a fun one, Scott. A couple weeks ago, a customer came and they wanted to be able to put in an invoice into Xero, but they also wanted them to have different deferred income lines. So they wanted every line item to have a different deferred schedule. So on the sales call, I hooked up the demo Xero account. I brought in all new invoices into Google Sheets. I put a frequency drop down on it at the end, brought it in line by line, and just showed them that with a couple formulas and drop downs and buttons, we can now do monthly entries into Xero for the line items, and it's done. Like it just, and they can manage the whole thing.
It's like
And
I'm like I'm kind of speechless. Like this is this is the well, I don't know. Yeah, these are the times where this is the reason why I do this podcast, right? Like this is so awesome.
It's
Like,
eye opening.
yeah, that's it. That's the word.
and there's some really cool things being built by other people too. Like, and that's like big shout out to Jason's community realize. Like there's just a whole bunch of people in there sharing what they're building and getting support from one another. And he is a developer on staff if you want to ask questions too. So go sign up for Realize.
Real RLZ.io. Yeah. So are you coming to the US market? Do you service clients in the US? Do you use US taxes, or is Canada the big enough market for you?
Nope. Have some firms in Canada that do cross-border like transfer pricing work that we refer some work out to. But the only thing in the US that we do is bookkeeping. We stopped doing payroll because, and we'll do bookkeeping and AP, but not tax or sales tax. We've been sending all of our sales tax work over to Alex at the tax valet.
That's
Cool.
I use him
If he has
too.
room. Yeah, if he has room.
Tax valet.
Yeah, Alex
Yeah.
is awesome. Actually,
Shout
he'd be a
out,
great guest if
yes.
you haven't already talked to him.
I was gonna say, yeah. Well, Zachary uses them, so I
He,
guess
he moved to Mexico,
Yeah.
but it'd be fun to have him on.
Yeah, you might hear that from me at some point.
It's awesome.
Do you have any big goals for the firm that you haven't hit yet? Anything that's sort of in your horizon, 5-year goals or big audacious goals?
No, just the big stuff is that everyone that's there deserves a legal means of making more money. And Josh and I are like really big believers in profit sharing and options and equity, but under the current structure, it's really tough to offer that. So over the last year, we've been going through some things to be able to restructure that, and that's exciting for us. So I think a big milestone for us would be able to say that we've kind of changed the way that the comp is calculated and divvied up. Right now, we put most of it all back into the company, but it would be great to give some to them as well under different means.
As opposed to selling drugs on the side or doing something else illegal, like this,
or like being in
legal
the
means?
being in the New Mexico desert in your RV.
Oh, man, I can't even focus today.
You're doing great.
ADD. I know I'm trying to hold it down. So they going back to what was it?
I've
You
got a
said
question for
something that
you,
hooked
Scott.
me.
I've got a
Yeah,
question for you.
Sure.
What do you want to do with the podcast that you haven't been able to do yet?
Oh, well, that's a good question. Yeah. So I think what I want to do with the podcast that I haven't done yet. Oh wow, I love this one. I don't know, because I've done right now. I'm at the point where everything that I wanted to do when I first started it, we've done already. And that was have Ron Baker on and have Mike McAllowitz on and meet new people. I feel like this has changed my life just doing this podcast. And it doesn't seem like a lot. Like I got a lot of people make fun of me and make jokes like Scott has a podcast. That's all he talks about. But man, like I met you through this, and I met so many different people through this, and I've become better friends with people that I already know. And I get my head out of my own ass. Like I'm not paying attention as much to my firm, which okay, that I probably should go back and pay more attention to that, or I should just figure that shit out. But honestly, I don't know if I have a lot of goals besides I want to reach a broader audience, right? And I want to more people listening or figure out, so get more listener feedback. Yeah, those are things that I would like to do, is I get some more feedback. I have a hard time. I don't know why. I'm very shameless, but I definitely have a hard time asking people for things like feedback, because I'm afraid nobody's going to give the feedback, so I don't even ask for it, or those kind of channels and things like that. So
I'll give you some
I don't know
raw
if I
feedback. No, I'll give you. So
Yeah.
when you post up show notes and they're short and they give timestamps, I don't know very many. I mean, some podcasts do it, but the way that you've written yours so quickly and it covers almost like the whole podcast, it makes it really easy to decide if you want to listen or not. So
Oh, cool.
to me, that's what I look at first when your episodes drop, and then I decide the episode based on your quick two worders for those lines. Yeah, it's cool. So,
So
thanks
not
for
just
doing that.
cool. So more like, at least when you say brief show notes, like I'm kind of doing it. I almost do it like basically as I'm editing the last round of edits. I take little snippets from each. I was doing it basically minute by minute, but now I'm kind of just trying to take little bursts of it. Like, okay, that's what this topic's on. Cool. Okay. All right. Well, I'll keep doing that then. I won't stop that. Some people
Yeah,
say that, Ackerman says nobody reads the show notes.
Well, that's what
But,
I mean, even that. I mean, try it out for a couple. Like, tweets are free, right? Throw out a couple tweets that
Yeah.
aren't the audio tweets, but are like, here's what we're covering. Do. Like, you never know
Oh,
if
yeah.
you come with that, because then you don't have to listen through the audio thing when you're without headphones, and you don't have to read it and wait 30 seconds to get to the point.
Uh-huh.
You can
Uh-huh.
skim 25 lines in 4 seconds if you want to look at it quickly, right?
Yeah. So like little bullets.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good one.
Plus, you're like
Any other feedback?
you're the king of using paragraph text in tweets, so you've got this one handled. You're
Oh
good.
God, I've trying to own that. That's like I'm trying to take the space and use that visually, because I like when I see that. That's kind of what I like to see. So I'm trying to like say one sentence in 4 lines almost. Like break up the thought.
You ever gonna make money off the podcast, or is it just about meeting people?
Well, we did make money.
Nice.
We got some sponsors. So right now we're running ads for Carbon, Xero, and Gusto.
Dude,
And,
that's great. I didn't know that.
We had Relay, we had Practice Ignition, so a lot of apps that we already use, and then I just kind of use that to now fund the editing, because I got to outsource that now. So right now I wouldn't really pay anything out of pocket on it, but now at least we have some funds to be able to do that, and then the equipment and things like that. Eventually, I got to get another chain. I got to get a real chain. That's where the money's going to go.
That's what's called a sponsorship placement. I think Yusuf and Guy would just be all over sponsoring a diamond encrusted chain that goes around your neck for every episode.
Oh, I can get an ignition one. Basically, I would wear the hell out of that. Guy is going to come back on for a second episode, and then I could get like Relay and Ignition. I would wear that. That would. Oh wow.
Go into Fiverr.
You got it. That's an idea right there. Yeah.
Just get somebody for $10 to do up a mock-up on what it could look like and bring it to the episode and show them.
Yes. Already on it. Yes.
That's awesome.
I gotta get like the new Ignition logo, because he's gonna have to change the logo because it can't be a P anymore. So Ignite, like, oh wow, you got it. I'm gonna send it to you too.
We're over time. Zach's giving you the eyes.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
So Zachary does the best. Speaking of show notes, Zachary actually, and I've tried to recruit him to do more of this. Zachary has been a beautiful sub for any time that either we do a double episode or any guest that I think is a good guest. I always have Zachary on. He has been on our most popular episodes. Me and Ackerman have a very fun love-hate type thing. Yeah.
Well, he probably has a winning record right up until this episode.
Get along really well.
Sorry, Zach.
No, this episode has been great. I think
ruined your record.
I actually take that down. Take that back, because I'm really I think this is a great episode.
I think it'll be kind of fun.
No shortage of good information. Yeah, like rich information in here too. Day in the life of Chad Davis.
Don't go
Chadwick
there.
Davis. Isn't Chadwick Davis the guy who died anyway? Like, isn't that his name?
I don't know. Don't Google it. It's not my name.
Oh.
Let's go back to Jason's stats. All right. So in his community, you can do a no-code showcase and learn from other people. So sign up for Realize. I'm not being paid, but it's a great place to learn. There you go.
What's the yeah, I don't know. What's the name of the job board again? I know that I should know this already, but I didn't write that one down.
Okay, it's really tough. It's cloudaccountingjobs.com.
So is that the CA in LiveCA, or is it Canada, or is it the CA designation?
That's the project that
Cloud accounting, live cloud accounting.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay,
Yeah.
I've never thought of it.
Well, I mean, because you could call it live CPA. Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Really? Oh wow.
Jeez. Good perspective.
I have a thing for affinity for letters. I have a good affinity
and
for
you
letters
know the
and
story
colors
of
and numbers.
CAs and CPAs. You've had Gravchik on, and you've had Claire and a bunch of Canadians.
Yeah. Well, like I said, this definitely lived up to not being the Canada episode, because we didn't have to talk about that once. This was very broad spectrum of chat. It didn't. You weren't pigeonholed into Xero either. We didn't even talk about Xero much. But,
we just talked about Jason stats.
It's a broad spectrum.
RLZ.io.
Really,
You came up a few times. This is a lot of shout outs there. I'm gonna have to go on Twitter and give a shout out.
The show notes will be
First
fantastic
takeaway.
to read.
Yeah.
my first takeaway was Jason Stats is a handsome fellow and a champion.
Yes.
And
Okay.
sign up for Realize. That's the first
It's a takeaway.
takeaway I've got.
We all live in that world.
Oh, I'm just writing that one down. That's going to be the tweet after this episode, right? That's
it. You can just
had Chadwick
just
Davis on.
Photoshop my face out of it.
It's Chadwick Boseman is the one.
That's right.
We can Photoshop Jason onto your face. Yeah, Jason with the beard.
It's funny.
That would be funny.
Yeah. Well,
Awesome.
whatever you
Zachary,
do with
do you have a summary though? Zachary
Sure.
does good summaries. Yeah.
Let's
He
give a
has good
summary so Chad can move on with his life. Be intentional about solving problems in a natural way. Look for deeper meanings in everything that you do, whether it's work or school or with your kids or with your clients. Hiring people, when you hire them, give them a chance to check you out as much as you're checking them out. When you're hiring, offer somebody more than what the big four can offer them. And that with cloudaccountingjobs.com. Is it .com?
Yes.
Is it cloudaccountingjobs.com?
Cloudaccountingjobs.com. It's free for a long time.
But I think we can offer more than what the big four can offer in other ways too, in the culture we build in our firms and what we can do for them. And that kind of leads me to your next talking point, which was everyone should have a good, reasonable, you said legal avenue to make more money. And I like that concept with a team and with people who you work with every day, allowing them an opportunity to grow and build more within your own organization. Step outside your comfort zone and build whatever you want, because it's not as hard as we make it out to be. The barriers are probably mostly mental. I thought it was a great chat, Chad. I think you're doing some awesome things at LiveCA, and I can't wait to see what you do next, including sending me that script for my problems with Stripe.
The Stripe script.
This is where we have a beer afterwards and
live cloud accounting. Yeah.
It's really funny.
I think it stands for Canada. Is it cloud accounting or Canada?
Well, no, the cloud accounting was the joke.
Well, yeah, it was a joke, yeah, but it was chartered accountant.
Now that's what it stands for.
They switched it up, but now it's cloud accounting. Yeah,
that's what it stands for now. Yeah.
Some other firms were smarter and put the CPA in really early. We're just kind of stuck there with CA.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for this, everyone.
Chadwick.
No, it was nice.
I really appreciate it. I also appreciate you wanting to come on earlier, because I'm glad that you came on. This gives me a lot of confidence to keep going. I was having a bad day, but man, I feel so much better now. This is awesome.
You got this.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Zach.